reality is.
Metaphor ReFantazio is the latest Atlus outing, but developed by Studio Zero and published by Atlus and Sega. Now, if you have played Shin Megami Tensei or Persona, then you're pretty much in for a similar ride. Similar yet equally different, which is really cool. Metaphor ReFantazio, I'm only about 15 odd hours into the game, but I'm telling you now, it's becoming a good contender for my #1 game of the year, which is insane. I always knew I'd like Metaphor because I always like Atlus games, but the game has really blown me away. It's really set the bar up on what Atlus can do, and especially what Studio Zero here have done. The game it starts off on the simple side, but as the story progresses and obviously you go through the boss fights and the more characters join you and stuff, it just unwinds into an absolutely enormous game. There is time management like there is in Persona, for example, having to spend your afternoons and your nights doing specific things which can be improving relationships with some of your compadres, or buffing yourself up in terms of stats and whatnot, which is really, really cool. There are side quests to do, and there are bounties to get from basically monster hunting contracts, and it's all really cool. There's a lot of really cool dungeons to go through. The combat system is turn-based, but before that, for the most part, as long as you're strong enough, you can go around as you're running around and smack the enemy with your sword. Well, a couple of them, but it's not like it's like a one-off hit. You can actually chain together a couple of attacks and take down a lot of enemies, so you don't have to go into the turn-based battle mode. Sometimes that obviously, well, more often than not, especially later on in the game, that doesn't work, but you get to hit them to get a good stun on them, and then you can just engage them with your party. As you progress, the magic is used effectively through what's called archetypes, and there you equip an archetype to a character and you level that archetype up to learn moves. And you can unlock all these different kinds of archetypes, like mage, warrior, fighter. You can have healer, etc, etc, and just level them up, and it's all really cool. You can equip each character with different weapons and different armors and stuff. Of course, only the weapons will look different, as kind of like the old, like Final Fantasy VII and all that, you know, where you can change the accessories or the armor that somebody's wearing, but the character still looks the same. However, if you change the weapon will look different. So that's pretty cool as well. The characters are all really well voice acted, very well written, and very memorable, and there's just a lot in this game. There's a lot of charm, there's a lot of characterization. The character you play as is a race from a tribe called an Elder, which is rare within this world. This world it's kind of like there's all these different tribes that all look completely different, and they're trying to live together, but there's prejudice, etc. So there's a little bit of like modern, like real life, modern day agendas in it in that respect, but it's not, it feels right for the world, and the fantasy world that's within this book that the prince has given to you, the main character, is our world essentially. So it's like it's an our world where everybody works together, and it's a utopia where nobody fights and everybody is equal and etc. Something that's probably never ever going to happen. But it's just a really cool setting, and a lot of larger monsters are referred to as humans. So the humans are the monsters in the game, and some of them are as weird as you'd expect them to be from an Atlus property, 100%. It's very insane. Now, the story, for the most part, without spoiling too much, obviously, like I said, I'm only about 15 hours in, so I'm not even a third of the way through. I think this game takes roughly around 60 to 100 odd hours, depending on how much you're going for percentage completed. But the story follows your character, and basically you are out on a mission because the prince has had a curse put upon him, and people think he's dead, but he's not. But the king has died, and there's now a tournament for the throne where you enter, and you have to try and get there to try and cancel the curse that's upon the prince. And yeah, basically that's as simplistic as I can put it. And it's just really cool, and you go all over the world, eventually go over the ocean and all that kind of stuff, and visit all these different biomes, deserts, forests, snow, etc., all that kind of stuff, with all these different really well designed monsters. The combat just gets better and better as you go through the game. Within the time management, the things that you can choose to do as you're traveling from point A to point B is a lot of fun, and I just have to say I'm very, very impressed with Metaphor ReFantazio, and it has definitely raised the bar in Japanese RPGs for me personally, so Square Enix have got to tune it up a bit. But please let me know in the comments down below if you've checked out Metaphor. I will have a full review when I complete the game. This was just, the first impressions just blew my mind. But as always, thank you very much for watching.
Let's do it. You'll be a hero. Trust me.